I will get new friends, and so will George Sarantopoulos, a man I know for 3 years, a candidate for the New York City Council, a Republican, who's going into this snake pit that is I call it our Hamas, George, to be honest with you. But it's just the beginning. I make jokes like this, and it may sound cruel, but anybody who knows about radio and media situation today in our country shouldn't be surprised. George, you're doing a very courageous thing.
Thank you.
You're going to run for city council as a Republican in the New York City, in the state of New York. So, my question to you is this. There are two kinds of people who go into politics. One of them, they sort of inherited the situation from their political families, from their political relatives, and they know what politics is from the moment they were born, basically. And sometimes there are people who just get so sick and tired of everything that's going on around them, they decide, now it's my time to try. I have to go and see if I can fix this situation because I seem to have the way of thinking that may be very helpful and I'm ready for action. So, which one are you? Tell us
I,
about
I would
yourself.
say I'm the second. I didn't inherit, my father wasn't a congressman or senator or anything like that. My dad's an immigrant from Greece, uh, a business guy. Me and my wife got into politics about 4 or 5 years ago. We volunteered on a campaign for first. And then within a year or two, we were running a campaign. But really, it was about we wanted to make a difference because we saw things were going really bad just right before COVID. My wife's a Chinese woman, and we were seeing that random Asian women were getting pushed off the platform during COVID, and that motivated us to get involved. I mean, there was a very lackadaisical attitude towards crime, like, hey, there's nothing we can do, and I'm old enough to remember when Giuliani and Bloomberg thought differently and they did something about crime in the city. So that's how we first started getting involved with politics. And something happened recently that I decided to jump in.
No, it's fantastic, and sometimes I don't subscribe. By the way, we met about a little bit later than you went into a political situation here in New York, and I was running in 2022. That's when we met, and
Yep.
I'm happy to. I'm glad to thank you. Have this chance to thank you for after four streams in Russian. It's really hard to speak English, but I'll get better.
No, don't worry. Your English is
I'll
fine.
get better. So yeah, and I wanted to thank you for your support and for your activity. You're a man of action, and what do you think is first thing that needs to be fixed in New York? Where would you start? Um,
I mean,
the-
look, the first thing that needs to be fixed without a doubt is the crime situation. Is the numbers 1970s crime? No, but perception is reality. People make decisions now based on crime. They're like, or the perception that there's crime. I believe that there's crime out there, real crime, and a lot of it's unreported. We see crime, shoplifting, it's not going reported. Uh, Package theft, not going reported. People are getting assaulted on the street. A lot of times that doesn't go get reported. Um, and I believe that the crime is a lot worse than they're letting on. Now, the Democrats or the progressives will say, well, it's just the media, it's the Citizen app. You're just, it's not for real. Just look at the numbers. But I believe that there's some real crime going out there, and we have gangs. I mean, gangs are making a comeback. We have MS-13 operating right here in Brooklyn, in Midwood. They did a stabbing. What was it? A stabbing in Bensonhurst, if I remember right. There was a drive-by shooting in Sunset. So we definitely have, the gangs making a comeback. We have that Venezuelan gang that Trump deported a lot of people. Um, and they were robbing people midtown. So what's old is new again. These are the crimes that were out of control in the 70s and in the 80s, and then finally Giuliani came in, cleaned it up, and Bloomberg kept the great work going.
Yeah, yeah, they were so critical. The role of Rudy Giuliani cannot be overstated in saving the city twice, at least what we know about him. There may be something that we don't know
No, no,
behind
no.
the
Listen,
scenes.
I don't care what you think about him recently, but you can't take away from him the 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 work he did to clean up the city. I mean, I remember when I first got into the city and I went to college. Uh, Walking around the streets of New York were not safe. I mean, it just wasn't. I went to NYU. You couldn't even cross Washington Square Park without drug dealers and all kinds of unsavory characters,
Yeah,
looking at you or looking to rob you.
I heard about it, and there's still traces of it. Listen, are you a lifelong Brooklynite, or you were born elsewhere in the States?
I grew up on Staten Island. I lived in Manhattan in my 20s. And then when I got with my girlfriend at the time slash wife now, I ended up, we had a nice apartment in downtown Manhattan. We had a small studio. And one day she comes home and says, "Hey, I got to move out." And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" She's like, "Well, I got to take care of my little brother. He has a great opportunity. He got into Brooklyn Tech High School, but my mom wants to move to Connecticut. So she ended up, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to move out." And I'm like, "Well, why don't we take care of him together? We'll raise him together." And he ended up becoming my stepson. And
Hmm.
we raised him together here in Brooklyn, in Bay Ridge. Moved in
Oh,
Bay Ridge about 25 years ago to do that. And he's now doing cancer research. So I'm pretty proud of him.
fantastic. Listen, so your district is in Bay Ridge, and it's number 48, right?
It's 47.
Oh, sorry, 47. Yeah, 48 is my where I lived. Yes, 47, of course. 47. Remember the citizens of Bay Ridge. That's your candidate for city council.
Well, it's Bay, just to be clear, so we don't forget
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah. Tell us about the district. That was my question.
It, it's
The
Bay, it's
geography.
it's Bay Ridge.
Uh huh.
It's this little line in Diker Heights,
Uh huh.
and it connects Bath Beach, Coney Island, and Seagate. It has a
Uh huh.
little, very small piece of Gravesend, but not much. It actually has the beach of Gravesend, but not actually Gravesend. And
I
that's
see.
our district. So you have to come out, especially if you live in Bay Ridge. You got to come out. There's a primary coming up in Seagate, Coney Island. We're here for you. And there's a real Republican running to represent the people, not the party bosses, as I say.
We're looking forward for your posters in our area because I live in Shipshead Bay, and maybe some of the neighbors would pass by once you post it, and they would know who to vote for, and that's nice. And what's the characteristic of the main characteristics of the area? Is it mostly residential? There's some business. There's some
Well,
what's the scope?
yeah, Bay Ridge is very interesting. It used to be much more Italian and much more Greek, but the northern side has become very Arabic. A lot of Palestinians, Yemen people moving up in the north side. A lot of hipsters have moved into Bay Ridge from Park Slope and other neighborhoods where they got too expensive. Uh, I would say the south side of Bay Ridge is very still Italian, Greek. Um, it's a mixed neighborhood, a lot of working people, a lot of white collar working people. Then we go into Bath Beach, same kind of demographics, a little more Chinese. Then we go
Mm,
into Coney Island. Uh, Coney Island's very black and Hispanic. And then up the northern side of Coney Island's very Russian, Ukrainians.
mhm.
And I would say Seagate. Seagate's a lot of religious Jewish people there. So it's a very
It's a very much a
varied
drama
district.
salata, I would
Yeah, yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. It's like the United Nations here.
It's a heady mix of everything. It's really like people,
Oh, and I don't want to forget, we got Pakistani people too, and
of course,
Bengali people down
the
in Bath.
Pakistani, Bangladeshi, and all the flavors. People love the sea. People love being with other people.
Yeah, I
That
think we have every kind of restaurant in the district.
no, absolutely. That's for sure. And in general, people respond in kind. You're nice to them, and they're nice to you. That's what I learned, at least when I was running, and didn't win. But my opponent was Hakeem Jeffries.
You gave Hakeem Jeffries without no real resources, no real party support. You gave him,
Yeah.
you put very respectable numbers on the board. And God bless you for walking around with that MAGA hat in the neighborhood.
Yeah, there was something, that there's a lot of jokes, mean jokes and nice jokes about this cap that came to my mind for all these years. But I'm sticking to it. I think there are two ways. You're either like a broken clock. You write twice a day, or you have to reboot every 5 seconds in today's political situation. And we really live in this. I forgot this neurotic, uh, this dysfunctional thinking that people apply to politics today. But listen, this is about you, and I think that I know for sure that we're going to meet again, and you'll tell us more about how it all moves along your campaign. You plan anything to be more kind of available for questions? You have a website. Your website is georgeforchangeny.com, and this website is ready to accept the support, the donations, as is usual in our political life. You support the candidate of the party you like, with the ideas you like, and you think that Donald Trump, like a favorite son, forgive me, favorite son of New York City, who's now in the White House, is it this fact of any support to your campaign, or it's like
Well, I think people are now
an
opening up
obstacle?
their eyes to the possibility that Republicans, when I grew up and I registered Republican and I registered as a Republican all the way 1992. I've
Hmm.
always been a Republican, but I registered as a Republican when it wasn't that cool, right? It was you're a Republican, oh, you must be for rich people, you don't care for the working guy, and you're just the greedy capitalist and blah 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 blah, right? So the perception is now that the Republican Party is here for everybody. We want to have a wide tent, like Ronald Reagan said. We want working people. We want to help poor people by giving them opportunities, not just giving them money and throwing money at them and just say, just keep them down. We want to provide opportunities for the maximum amount of people. That's, I think, the difference between Republicans and Democrats. And I think Trump, whether you love him or hate him, Trump has made it cooler to be a Republican. That's for sure. I meet a lot of younger people these days that are under 30, under 25, and they'll wear their MAGA hat and they'll wear their "Make America Great Again" hat and "Make America Healthy Again" hat and
Of
whatever.
course.
And they're proud, and they're more than proud to do it. And even 8 years ago, that was, I mean, listen, you know better than me. You were walking around with that MAGA hat. How many people were insulting you or trying to say stuff to you? I mean, things have changed. People.
Yeah, yeah. There's this kind of a sad joke, but I laugh when I say it, because I used to be afraid of people of only Democrat persuasion to hit me from the back with a cinder block because of my hat. But now there's all kinds of people who find reasons to hate Make America Great Again
Well,
from
there's
all over
people
the
that want
world.
to, yeah, I'm sure you're familiar. There's people that want to bring this country down because they want to bring some kind of socialist revolution. I mean, one of the candidates, what's his name, Zoran, wants supermarkets to be controlled by the government. And these are the same guys that can't even get housing right. So can you imagine them managing supermarkets? Would be a total disaster. I mean, Venezuela did that, and people ended up eating zoo animals in the end. So I
Yeah.
mean, who the hell wants that? And this guy raises money from big real estate developers, but he wants to socialize supermarkets. I don't know how that makes sense.
A lot of politics for quite some time doesn't make sense, frankly, in my opinion, as someone who came from socialist country. But how to deal with that? How to swim in this soup of opinions of hostility with the ideas that basically uh, are not about giving people fish, but giving them fishing rods.
I would follow there was a foundation, Grameen. Excuse me if I'm saying it incorrect, but there's definitely a lot of entrepreneurship. I've seen it. I'm a business owner. I sold point of sale and credit card processing to small business owners, and that was my business. That is my business still, and I see a lot of entrepreneurship in Black and Hispanic communities.
Yeah.
And so I believe with microloans, you can really uplift people in those communities. And you give what do they say? Give a man a fishing rod and he can eat for a lifetime. As opposed to give him a fish and then he only can eat for a day.
Of course, you got to inspire people, especially in New York. Say they come here for ballet and opera, but most people come here to make decent living for themselves and make money. And when they see an incentive, when they see that the government, and by the way, there are so many incentives from by the federal representation here and by the state, people just don't know about it.
We
Uh,
had 207,000 migrants come in last year.
yeah,
Do you know who's the most angriest? Not the people that have been here 20, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, born here. The people
people
that
who
are
came before
angriest,
them,
yeah, the people
day
that are
before them.
angriest are the people that came here 10, 15 years ago. And they're like, what the hell? There's guys staying at a luxury hotel, playing PlayStation, drinking Coronas all day. And they sound more Trump than anybody else. They're ready to put the MAGA hat on.
Yeah,
Um,
it's surprising how things are get evened out by life itself, and people start thinking about things, and they successfully moved from $5 an hour to $7 an hour, and then somebody comes and ready to work for $3 an hour. So that's
but I
the
don't think a lot of those people are ready to work. I mean, I think there was a lot of videos done by people on how to game the system, how to collect benefits, how to stay at one of those luxury hotels. I mean, there's a couple of Venezuelan influencers that were out there
yeah.
teaching people how to game the system and what to say to the immigration. I mean, it's horrific. And like, it's really not fair to somebody who came 15 years ago, did it legally, saved every penny they could to buy a home or put a down payment on a home, and they're raising two, three kids. They're not collecting benefits, and I mean, they're the ones that are like I said, they're the biggest proponents of deporting a lot of these people, especially illegal criminals. I mean, to me, I don't know why is it controversial to deport a violent criminal. I'm sorry, if you're a violent criminal, you should be, and you're illegally here. There should be no question that you get deported. It shouldn't even
No,
be a debate.
absolutely.
You know,
If you're a citizen, government will pay for it. American people will pay for you being jailed. But if you don't belong here, so you go back to where you came from. Listen, as French doctors say, on a scale from 1 to 10, in how much pain you think New York City is right now?
it's an interesting thought. I think there's a certain segment of the ultra rich that don't even notice that New York's in pain. They jump in a limousine, they go to a nice restaurant, they go back into the limousine, and to them it's one, right? But I think for working people, for average people, I would say 7 or 8. I mean, people are fearful. They're making decisions based on crime. I think there's also an affordability crisis. It's very hard to live here in New York. Nobody moves out of New York because there's a hurricane or a tsunami or a fire. It's all death by a thousand cuts, right? After a while, you say, you know what? It's too expensive to live in this city. I'm tired of going on the train and there's somebody urinating on the train and, I'm stepping on piss or
Yeah.
I'm worried, like I can't even go out at night because there's a lot of sketchy characters on the corner. I think people make the decision to leave New York because all these things add up. And after a while, they say, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to move to Jersey. I'm going to move to North Carolina. I'm going to move to South Carolina. I'm going to move to Florida. And like I said, that's why people leave the city. And last year, about 120,000 people decided to get up and leave the city. So we're importing poverty. We're importing a lot of people that are not going to be adding to the tax base. And I guarantee you, if you can afford to leave the city, those are taxpayers. And when those people are leaving the city, that's hurting the city.
Yeah, New York lost their tax base, our tax base, and was brought to our knees basically when the mayor had to beg Washington for money to deal with the illegals, basically put them up in the hotels, and that was there's always a lot
Do you
to
know how much the feds
look.
gave to the city? Do you have any idea last year?
Give me the most recent number.
The most recent number I heard was $120 million. It cost the city almost $4 billion. According to that's the city's numbers. The New York Post claims it's 6 billion. Who knows what the right number is, but
Mhm.
it's safe to assume it's in the billions.
But
And
it was just like crumbs, right? What the city got from Washington from
that
Biden.
that is correct. That is correct. We got crumbs in the end, and
And the
we're
bet
just
was to get the full reimbursement, I'm sure. Because they went along the guidelines, what they heard from Washington, they followed like blindly. Bring us those people, and we'll
well. Listen,
put them up
Mayor Adams, he dared to speak up, right? I mean, whether you again love
eventually.
or hate him, all of a sudden he had an investigation going on.
Yeah,
You know, you know,
stopped in the street, phones confiscated, iPad confiscated, and that was your mayor of New York City. That's
it's crazy.
it didn't get enough play, by the way. It would be like a central episode of Law and Order, and the
By
mayor
the
would
way,
come out victorious.
By the way, the mayor should not be getting free trips from anyone. But if you think Mayor Adams is the only
He
guy who
got free
gets on,
upgrades, I heard, not the trips per se. It's just the upgrades to business class, or maybe he was invited. I don't remember.
we don't know the real extent of it, right? But I guarantee you, plenty of other political candidates, not even candidates, political electeds, get upgraded all the time. This is pretty standard. This is
Yeah.
not. And I'm sure the Turkish government wanted to have some influence in local government, as many foreign governments do. And they decided a first class ticket is the cost of that several times.
Listen, at least in his CV, there is no word Burisma, right?
Yes, of course, of course, of course. You know,
But what do you think? We are looking at the mayoral race, and of course, it's the bellwether of things to come. And what do you think? Mm, who is the most viable candidate, if I may ask? If you kind of
I would say on the
think about
Democratic side, it'll be Como. I mean, he's pulling ahead in the lead. I've spoken to different ethnic
it.
group associations, and they've all said they would come out to support him. I think Zoran is probably going to come in on second. Like if the election was tomorrow, right? Anything can happen.
Right.
But I think he's going to run on a working families line because I can't see working families giving the line to Como. And I would say we would have Sliwa in there. And if you believe Mayor Adams, he claims he's going to run on some kind of independent line. And then there's Jim Walden, the attorney who's suing the state for the right to use the word independent or independent party. So I think we're going to have at least 3 to 5 candidates
Wow.
that are going to be in there, and that gives Sliwa a much better chance to win. He's gonna, he only got 28% last time, 27%. So if all those people still show up, and he, let's say, increases his, voting his voters by another 5 or 10%, he could be the mayor without having a majority.
Yeah.
But I think Como will probably pull in a lot more people across different political spectrums, and I think a lot of Italians will go for him. I think a lot of moderate Democrats will go for him, and I think some moderate Republicans will even go for him. Unfortunately. I mean,
That's considering the competition, of course, that decision may be made. And I think he will try to get on the good side of a president too, being a Democrat, but also a New Yorker. And of course, they know each other, and we'll see how it goes. So far, our concern is your district and how you're going to start your campaign, and we'll be following you closely. And we want to wish you every luck and success and a
thank you.
lot of strength, George. We need you will need your strength to get through all of this, because slings and arrows await you as any candidate from all the unexpected in every unexpected way. So, uh,
Well, look, Yuri, I'm the outsider. I'm running with some. I have business experience. I'm running from the outside. I'm not a party hack. I think I can go in there and make a big difference. The party has anointed four people against the Brennan political machine, and they've
yeah,
lost each time. So, this is a chance for somebody to actually win this spot. Bay Ridge alone, except for Ari Kagan down in Coney Island, they didn't have a Republican there for many years, and Bay Ridge has been in the Democrats' win column for the city council for about 23 years. So I think there's a chance now for Republican. If there's a chance for a Republican to win, it's now more than ever.
yeah. And we're not going to talk about Eric Hagan because he's like a very new Republican. In my opinion, they haven't shown his republicanism in not that I would notice. I would say,
Well, let's say he's an opportunist at the very least.
yeah, but that's his campaign to win or lose, and we'll see how it is going to be for him. Our thing is to look around and see what our people need to know, and my job is to bring them this news, and for you to go and do your best and see. It's a little bit every day, and then I think on the election day you see the results. And I hope that our Republican population here in your district, which is very rich in people who are watching this program, and I'm doing my best to pester them every day with the news and thoughts of my friends who are very lovely people from all over the world. Uh, we will do our best to support you. What can I tell you? It's very nice to get your introduction. It's an honor for this program to be in the beginning of your political trek that you're going to follow. And thank you, everybody. Thank you
Thank you,
for all
Yuri,
who
for the kind words.
surround you, your wonderful team, and your wonderful wife, Heidi.
Thank you, Yuri, for the kind words. I really appreciate the support.
Friends, GeorgeForChangeNY.com is the website where you can learn more about George Sarantopoulos, your candidate for the City Council of New York, a Republican. And please pay attention. Pay attention. The race is on.